Hello guys, welcome back. This is Dimitri. Today we're gonna be working with list in C Sharp. So we're just going to create a couple of lists and we're just going to iterate on those values. Okay, let's start by creating a list. So how do you create a list in C Sharp? All right. So you gotta type list and then you gotta tell C Sharp what type of list you want. So do you want integers? Do you want strings? So in my case, I'm just going to create a list of integers. Then I'm gonna give it a name. So I'm just gonna call this integer list equals to new list. And then you gotta say integer again. That's basically the way you do it, okay? Alright, so you could start adding numbers just by referencing this list here and start adding methods. So that you can add values with the add method, and you could add a number here, number 2 for example. Then if you want to add a different number, so you could just come here and say number 4, and then you could do the same way with different methods. So you could do the remove method, there's a reverse method, there's also a sort method to sort your list. Okay, so I'm not gonna do it this way. I'm just going to create my list from here. So the way you do it is you open curly braces and you start adding whatever you want. So I want my numbers here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are my 4 numbers that I want for this list. Okay. All right. So instead of printing hello world here, this is a common mistake. So some people console right line the integer list right away. So list, and they basically run this. So if you come over here, you're gonna see the system collections generic, but you're not gonna see the list, the real list. So the reason of that is because you need to iterate, you need to use a for each. Okay, a for each statement. But before doing this, you gotta make sure that you have here on top the using system.collections.generic. If you don't have this, you're gonna have an error here, and you'll have to add this using system.collections.generic. Okay, because the list come from the collection class. Okay. All right, perfect. So next step is we need to actually display these values. So we have to iterate right here. So we're just gonna type for each, and then we're gonna say, okay, for each integer I or A or B, I can give it any name I want. Okay, so for each integer I in, and then I gotta mention my list. So what's the name of my list? Integer list. And then I gotta open and close curly braces. Okay, and then I'm going to console right line. So I'm just gonna use a snippet CW tab, and then I'm going to print my I. Okay, that's perfect. So if I have this name here as a B, then I'm going to print B instead of I. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep working with I, and if I run this, so the console should show me values from 1 to 4. So let's just run this real quick, and there you go. So I have the values, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. that is my first list. Let's just create a different list. We can just come here, copy this. Okay, let's just comment this out because we don't need this part anymore. And if you're going to create a different list, you're just gonna use the same logic, but this is gonna be my, let's say, integer list 2. That has to be a different list, right? And then, well, probably you have different values. So this is going to be 10, 20, 30, and 40. So in this case, I'm going to iterate into this different list. So I gotta mention this right here. This I could be the same because it doesn't matter the name. And let's see, are we missing something else? I think we're ready to go. So let's just hit F5 or click on the execute button. And there you go. So you have the couple of lists. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. That is from the first list. And then you got 10, 20, 30, and 40 from the second list. Okay. So let's just close this real quick. And that's basically how you guys work with lists. You could also create a list of a string. So instead of saying list integer, you're going to type string. Okay, let's just give it another name, string list, new list, and we gotta change this because it's a string, right? Perfect. And of course I'm going to have strings here. So I'm going to have hello, I'm going to have bye. Okay, I have my 2 strings, but I'm going to work with the same logic. For each, let's just call this for each string s in, I gotta mention my list, and I want you to console write my hello and my bye. Okay, so it's basically the same logic, but now we're working with strings. Okay, let's just hit F5, and I'm going to see my 2 integer lists that I have here before, and then I'm gonna have my new list, which is hello and bye. So let's just come here, and you could just modify hello again. You could modify your list the way you want. Okay, so the first list, I'm just gonna have one value, which is 0. And if I run this again with F5, you'll see all the changes that I just did. So let's just come over here. My first list is 0, and then I'm going to have 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way to 111. And then my last list is going to be hello, bye, and hello again. So that's basically how you guys work with lists in C#. Just don't forget to utilize the for each loop, because that's what some people do. And I hope you guys like the video, and I'll see you in the next video.